more 1 year, I forget like that. I get more 1 year, I'm a young thing. I'm a Caminian Matu, I'm a Cat on young Motu, I'm a Cat on young Watumo. I'm a Caminian Matu, I'm a Cat on young Motu, I'm a Cat on young Watumo. I'm a Cat on young Watumo, we not a catch more walk out. Can you change inside the mama? Can you change inside the mama? Can you change inside my home? Can you change inside the mama? You more bomb, a bomb, can you change inside my home? What you need? Can you change inside my mama? Can you change inside the mama? Can you change inside my home? Can you change inside the mama? Can you change inside the mama? I walk out to my 1 year, I forget like that. I get you more 1 year, I'm a young thing. I walk out to my 1 year, I forget like that. I get you more 1 year, I'm a young thing. Them say me no fit jump, them say you no fit jump, them say we no fit jump. Them say me no fit jump, them say you no fit jump, them say we no go fit jump.
Good evening and welcome to tonight's edition, Christmas Eve edition of the Ghanaian Community Awareness Forum. My name is Emmanuel Kwesi, the chairman of Ghana Union, and tonight we have a variety of topic areas to consider with a distinguished guest who we will introduce in due course. As always, we will let you know a few rules that apply throughout this session of engagement with you. And before I go through, I want to thank you for finding time on Christmas Eve to join us as audience, as a community, for the purpose of engaging with each other and at least meeting for the last time in 2021. On this forum, I think it's right and proper that we have somebody who is the father of our community here in the UK with us. This program is brought to you by kind partnership of Ghana Union, Ghana Nurses Association UK, the Western Region Nurses Association UK, the Nightingale Nurses Association UK, and endorsed by the Ghana High Commission, supported by IT Consortium and Omega Live TV. The program is broadcast through Zoom, Facebook, YouTube, and all other media handles across the world. And so tonight, I'm pleased to have you again, as always, every 2 weeks, as audience and as a community, for us to go through a few things with the High Commissioner tonight. As always, the audience will be muted throughout the session, and you will only be allowed to mute yourself during Q&A. Where possible, we do ask that if you can, say your name, and where possible, show your face on screen so we can engage with somebody other than iPhone 11 or iPhone 13 Pro Max, whatever the phone you carry. So please, if you can rename yourself so that we know who we engage with. And please use the Zoom icon to raise your hand when we come to Q&A session and ask your question. You will not be allowed to share your screen, and any effort to do so will be disabled from your end by our team. We do ask kindly that as we have many audience hopefully joining us tonight on Facebook, on YouTube, and of course on Zoom, you go straight to your point and ask one question at a time. These are the few rules. It's something that religiously we have to do so to remind people who otherwise may have forgotten what our protocols are. So tonight, we have a distinguished guest with us. When the advert went round, some people were wondering how are we going to get a High Commissioner to turn up with us on 24th night. I had a few questions, people saying, are you sure he's going to turn up? And I said, of course, he's a public servant. He will respond to duty wherever he's called. So I'm sure my answer was right. But we have a distinguished guest tonight. He's the High Commissioner, the Court of St. James, representing the United Kingdom and Northern Ireland. He has many accolades of experience in political and personal life, but I'm sure if I want to go through that tonight, we will spend a lot. So I do ask you to visit his profile. He's the man without any introduction. He's been in the world of politics for quite a long time, and he's been with us from 2017 to 2020, and then was reappointed to return to the good work he started and hopefully accomplish the rest. So he resumed duty, I believe, in June this year. So for so many people who don't even know he's around because of the pandemic and all the social distancing, we've not probably had a much more wider face-to-face, but he is a man that has been reappointed by His Excellency the President to come back and continue the work. Can I just say that tonight's forum is not a political forum. We are not here to engage anyone on which government is good and which one is bad and on what issue or whatever. The High Commissioner, of course, is a government representative and will be talking to us about the things that he believes are happening and where possible share his own personal view. Because apart from being a High Commissioner, I'm sure you agree with me, he's also a Ghanaian and a citizen of Ghana who has personal views on matters. So I will try my best to make sure that when you come to your question, you don't diverge into blame game, but let's try and go through thoroughly some of the areas that we have raised with him that he's here to talk to us. So without much ado, I will welcome His Excellency, the High Commissioner, Papa Owusu-Ankomah, to the Ghanaian Community Awareness Forum. Hey, Chief, very much welcome. Thank you for finding time to join us. Christmas Eve, I have to say, anytime Ghana Union has called on you, you have risen above the challenge, no matter the circumstances. And I know tonight probably would have been a challenge for some previous High Commissioners, but you have demonstrated distinguished character of duty. So I do welcome you on behalf of my community and the audience. Thank you for joining us. Please, I think you are muted, please. If you can kindly unmute yourself.
Well, thank you. And I'm grateful and honored by the opportunity to have an interaction with Ghanaians in the United Kingdom through the able office of the leadership of the Ghana Union UK. It is a singular honor. Of course, we know that the eve of Christmas, particularly in the UK, is a busy time for individuals and families. But since since this is a virtual engagement, I said that no, it is important. If today is the day that the Ghanaian Union deems necessary to have an interaction with the High Commission through me as the representative of the government of Ghana, I will avail myself of the opportunity. So thank you very much for this opportunity. And I am here to listen mostly to you, your concerns, and share a few ideas with you. So having said that, Mr. Kwesi, you may resume. And if I may continue, you may then tell me.
Thank you so much, sir. Yes, we thought after we started this forum, as I'm sure you'll be aware, at the back of COVID-19, to try and network and engage the community and keep them informed, even though there was no opportunity to do so. And we've done so from February 12 this year. And we thought you should have the last final say before we end the year. So the 24th was actually themed and planned for that purpose. And also we knew that at some point you had to leave and return. So we wanted you to be the final person to bid us Christmas before the year ends. Tonight, I'm sure I've engaged with you in communication. We'll be looking at topic areas, variety of topic areas, and it doesn't have to be a lengthy discussion from your side, but most importantly from the audience who may want to ask questions around the areas. Yes. We'll be looking at issues around the flagship, government flagship free SHS that has been, obviously, we've had the first graduates come out, I believe this year, and with their results. We also want to talk about Ghana beyond aid. When Our Excellency, the President, took office, he was determined to ensure that Ghana becomes one of the countries who will not be seeking the doors of, foreign colonial masters and others for aid, and make sure our people can be comfortable in Ghana. So we'll talk about Ghana beyond aid, where we are now. We will look at issues of galamsey in Ghana. These are topics areas we've already treated throughout the forum, but we thought as almost the president of Ghana in UK, you will be the one to give us what you think we are with these issues. We also approach the issue of fix the country, the movement that we have called fix the country. You give us your views as a representative of the government. Where do you think we are going right with that movement? Where do you think we are going wrong? What can we do to improve it, if there's a need at all? We also look at armed robbery, crime, security in Ghana. It's been an area of concern over the past couple of years that every now and then we do hear incidents of rather violent crime going on in Ghana. And for those of us in the diaspora, visiting Ghana is always a key area for us. Not to say that everywhere there's a crime, there's no doubt about that. But it's even more important that as we haven't lived there for so long, we will be aware of some of the things that we need to be taken care of. We also want you to address an area of COVID management, government COVID management, airport testing, quarantine rules, and proposed compulsory vaccination, which has been circulated around. How is that going to work from your perspective? Then we'll look at the gay draft LGBTQ++ bill, which we have already addressed in some 2 to 4 weeks ago. We are intending to repeat a second part 2 of it at some point, hopefully next year. But your view as it is with this bill, what do you have to share with us? We also want you to address some concerns that has been raised by this government e-levy, which is seeing a lot of boxing rings in the Houses of Parliament in Ghana. I'm sure all of you would have seen some things going on. And obviously, any other recent updates that you believe we need to know regarding the Ghana High Commission here UK and Ireland. I don't want you to spend too much time talking about visas and passport, but any important thing that there are other officials who are able to do that, and they've been here before and done it, and we can recall them. But your role today is to tell us if there's anything new. Also mindful and taking knowledge that under your office from 2017, the Ghanaian community has now enjoyed 10-year passport validity and also a reduction to £100 from 180. And we do recognize the effort and your skill of lobbying and your skill of negotiating and getting this with the community for us. So we have to give you credit that after all the campaign, you've managed to help us achieve this through the Ministry of Foreign Affairs and Regional Integration. So, His Excellency, these are the topic areas. There's no order. You can take any of them whenever you are, whatever time you feel like this topic is necessary. But tonight, it shouldn't be about me and you, it should be about the audience. So, if we can make it brief on each topic, so that the audience can have the opportunity to actually speak to you rather than myself. Thank you. Please take over.
Well, thank you very much, Mr. Quayson. Quite a tall list. Probably at another forum, I may have said that you want me probably to give you a mini message on the state of the nation. But be that as it may, I believe we have this, the free senior high school. At the time it was being introduced by this government, I believe there was a lot of skepticism. However, despite challenges and, saying that, well, there's obviously room for improvement, the free senior high school has come to stay. With it, we had an increase in the number of students entering the senior high school. And this has led to the introduction of the double track system, which is not a permanent system that government intends to have, but for a couple of years to ensure that everyone who is eligible has access to secondary education. And at a point in time, probably within the next 5-6 years, we then may have enough infrastructure to cater for all at the same time. Well, in terms of the free senior high school, we have the provision of teaching and learning materials by government, teachers' motivation fees, mathematics and science training for teachers, provision of core textbooks for all students, intervention grants to teachers, and then remedial packages delivered to students and support for low-performing schools. All this had inured to the relative success of the free SHS. Of course, the effect of policies are meant to impact on the outcomes of education. Now, in terms of percentage of candidates obtaining a grades A1 to C1 in core subjects, I have some statistics here. In 2016, subject of English, the percentage was 51.6%. 2017, 52.24%. 2018, 46.79. 2019, 49. 2020, 57.34. 2021, 54.08. Integrated science, 2016, 48.35. 2017, 52.89. 2018, 50.48, 2019, 62.94, 2020, 52.53, 2021, 65.7. Likewise, mathematics, where 2016 we had 33.12 percentage passes, 2017 41.66, 2018 38.15, 2019 64.23, 65.71 for 2020, and 2021 54.11. The trajectory of the results gives an indication that education outcomes are improving. But from my personal perspective and experience, I believe that despite the fact that we have free SHS, parents and guardians should also complement the effort of government, because when it comes to education, as you all know, particularly here, even though there's opportunity for everyone, parental interest and influence plays a key role. So government has been urging parents to take personal interest in the education of their children, and not to say that because government is taking responsibility for secondary education, parents should renege on their basic responsibilities. And when it comes to Galamsey, now I believe that with the operation set by government in a few recent months, the issue of Galamsey, which is illegal mining, is declining. Some foreigners who were considered to be playing major part in this exercise in terms of immigration control, they have been tightened. And it is hoped that going forward with the introduction of the small-scale community mining scheme in recent months, we could satisfy the desire of Ghanaians to engage in small-scale mining without necessarily adversely impacting on the environment. When it comes to COVID-19, I believe that those of us who are in the United Kingdom are very much aware of even the steps and actions being taken by the government in Westminster and the various national governments to contain this pandemic. In Ghana, I've learned that in the past few weeks, there's been an upsurge in the Omicron variant, except that the severity is rather low, so we are not having hospitalizations. But government of Ghana believes that the pandemic and its impact has depended mainly on travelers that is coming from outside Ghana. Hence, the decision to reintroduce the quarantine and the compulsory vaccination of those who have not vaccinated but want to enter the country or want to leave the country. Let us not forget that for something like yellow fever, there used to be a compulsory vaccination policies for many countries, including Ghana, so that if you are entering a country and you have not vaccinated for yellow fever, you will not be granted admission. If you want to enter, then you have to be vaccinated at the airport. And that's what government believes is the best when it comes to COVID-19. Initially, when we introduced the PCR test, I know there were some even viral videos of some people complaining that, yes, they've taken the lateral flow test, but they come to Ghana and they say that they've tested positive. There's something wrong with the system. They are trying to rip them off. But experience in the UK in recent months has demonstrated that, yes, you can have a negative lateral flow test, but have a positive PCR test. So this also demonstrates that the policy of government at that time was not a policy designed to target so-called foreigners. Now let's come to the draft LGBTQ plus bill. Well, as it is, this bill is a private member's bill. I mean, it was introduced by private members. I was in Parliament from 1997, and at a point in time, I had the honor of being the majority leader in Parliament. I mean, there was no opportunity to present a private member's bill. As we grow as a country, we will want to strengthen the legislative arm of the state. So now you have a speaker who is not a member of the government party. You have Parliament equally split between the government party and the main opposition party. And of course, the process of enacting a legislation, even from government perspective, is a very elaborate process. Before a bill is introduced, as Attorney General, I knew that there must be a policy principle behind it, supported by government. So the minister who is responsible for introducing such a bill will have to present a policy paper before cabinet. Cabinet debates the policy rationale. If the policy is accepted, then the minister is given the go-ahead to bring a draft bill. But even before the draft bill is brought to cabinet for consideration, you must engage in extensive consultations, especially when it is introducing a new law and not merely an amendment. And so you can have this process going on depending on the bill for sometimes 2 or 3 years. The Right to Information Bill, for instance, was proposed and the principle accepted by cabinet sometime in 2002. It could even have been earlier, because when I was Attorney General, I worked on it. However, even when I was Attorney General for 2 years, it was not introduced into Parliament. And after it was introduced into Parliament, it took about 3 or 4 years before Parliament enacted it into law, and it was under this government. So I'm just saying this to show that where the provisions of a law are very contentious in terms of having very divergent views, it goes through a very lengthy, comprehensive, and thorough discursive process even before it comes to cabinet and cabinet considers the bill in detail, and thereafter it goes to Parliament. However, this being a private member's bill, he did not have the opportunity of going through all these processes. It was just admitted into Parliament. Of course, it's at the discretion of the Speaker. But this bill has really, really introduced a certain form of even international dimension and apprehension. And so it is before Parliament, and it has generated a lot of emotions. I don't intend to go into details, but suffice it to say that it is before Parliament, representatives of the people. It is now at the committee stage. The committee is conducting hearings. After the committee conducts hearings, it will consider the bill line by line, submit its report to Parliament. Parliament will then also debate it line by line. There have been occasions in Parliament where governments have been compelled to withdraw laws and reintroduce them, because even the principle underlining the laws have changed during the course of consideration by Parliament. So from my own experience, I believe that there's a lot of work that is going to be done on this bill in Parliament. If we want to have a bill or a law that encapsulates the divergent views in Ghana, suffice it to say that even after Parliament passes the law under the Constitution of Ghana, the president will have to give his assent. In giving the assent, the president will have to consider whether the bill is constitutional. That is, whether it is not in conflict with provisions of our laws and even our international obligations. And when he considers it, it may have then to go to the Council of State and then come back to Parliament for reconsideration if he thinks that there are certain portions that need to be reconsidered. And even after everything is done, there are individuals who may decide then that, look, even the law as enacted is unconstitutional. So the Supreme Court should decide on the constitutionality of certain provisions of the law. So I wish to assure Ghanaians in the United Kingdom and all those listening to me that, Parliament, I'm sure, or this bill has a long way to travel. And so we should be patient. But I believe that at this stage in our national history, we are developing as a nation. Every nation has its own challenges at various times. The UK has practiced democracy for over 300 years, 400 years, but it's still a project that is working on. And so for us as a country, presently, as Parliament is constituted, it is a major challenge. It is a major challenge where you have Parliament split equally between the government party and the opposition party. Technically speaking, I don't consider it a hung parliament, because a hung parliament is a parliament like a Westminster parliament where government is formed in parliament. Unfortunately, or fortunately for us, fortunately or unfortunately, in Ghana, government is formed outside parliament. Just that majority of members of the president's government must come from parliament as provided for under our constitution. But governments don't fall within parliament. Parliament cannot pass a vote of no confidence for the president to be removed from office. That must be subject to impeachment. So technically, it is not a hung parliament because government itself is formed outside parliament. So just coming to an end, I know that we've had some distressing happenings in parliament. I, as a former majority leader in parliament, I must say that, well, it is most unfortunate what has been happening. It must be roundly condemned by all right-thinking Ghanaians. Parliament is a chamber for debate. It's not a chamber for fisticuffs. The principle is that where a member of parliament is against any action taken by the speaker, that member or group of members must resort to the procedure laid down under the standing orders to challenge the speaker's decision. Where a person or group of members believe that it cannot be done or what is being done is contrary to the Constitution, then the Supreme Court is the final arbiter. We've had many examples of persons taking matters to court to challenge Parliament's decision on matters. An example that really comes to mind is J.H. Mensah versus Attorney General, where the J.H. Mensah said that Parliament should approve of ministers before they can assume duty as ministers. So I am urging our members of Parliament to note that whatever they do represents Ghana. They are the face of Ghana. We have been applauded for pursuing a democratic path. And we are even considered as a trailblazer when it comes to the practice of democracy in Africa. We should not do anything that will compromise that image. And of course, MPs are supposed to set an example. So I am sure Parliament itself is concerned. Many Ghanaians are saying that we don't need an apology any longer. Parliament also manages its own affairs. No external institution or authority can exercise influence over Parliament. And I'm sure Parliament itself will try and resolve all these matters. Now, I know a major matter that concerns many Ghanaians is when it comes to consular services in the United Kingdom, passports. Of course, a lot of, I know that the head of our consular and welfare and then the passport and immigration sections have had opportunity to appear on this program on previous occasions. Suffice it to say that I believe that we are doing fairly well as a mission when it comes to passport and visa acquisition and its consideration. We've extended our passport acquisition to various places in the UK. And from next year, I believe that we intend to have this biometric enrollment at least about 3 times every quarter outside London. And in my personal engagement with the Ghanaian community, government guidelines and regulations permitting, and the pandemic abating, I also intend to engage personally with Ghanaians in the UK outside London at least thrice every quarter. And that works up to an average of once a month. I believe we are doing our best. I also thank Ghanaians in the United Kingdom for being stellar citizens. But my personal concern has been for Ghanaians who are in distress here. Mr. Kwesi, I've discussed with you, together with other leaders of various Ghanaian unions, that the mission is very, very much concerned, about Ghanaians, some of whom have emotional issues due to stress in their personal lives, and the need for us as a community to try and have a group that offers counseling services to our compatriots who are in emotional distress. I know that as Ghanaians, we don't share our problems with others. We believe that when we share our problems then become matters of public knowledge and discussion. However, at the mission, we encounter certain situations where some of our compatriots are in grave distress when it comes to the social services, care of children, etc. And so I would encourage the community to find a way to see how we can provide some support for our compatriots in distress. I've tasked the welfare section of the mission to have discussions with the leadership of the Ghanaian community with a view to seeing how best we can collaborate to offer some sort of these services to complement the services being rendered by the government agencies here. So thank you. This is a brief overview of discussions. If there's anything that I've forgotten, I'm sure during the Q&A section, the opportunity will offer itself for me to expatiate or respond to them. But let me say once again, Mr. Kwesi, I'm very, very grateful for this opportunity. And I thank you.
Thank you so much, Kechi. Thank you. Thank you very much. Before we take a break for you to have a cup of, a glass of water, there are 2 areas I wish you can comment on before you do take a minute break. Fix the Country movement and crime in Ghana.
Oh, right. Well, Fix the Country movement.
All of it, except those 2.
Yes. Thank you very much. No, Fix the Country movement, I had occasion to invite the leadership when the whole movement began to my office. I mean, I believe even in this country, even in the United Kingdom, people are always calling upon the government to fix it. Yes. I dare say that the standards of accountability in our country leave a lot to be desired. I mean, we all know how, for instance, those in government taking a picture in a garden party can even lead to resignations. Unfortunately, we are not used to that. So any effort to ensure that government officials are held to account are to be applauded. I mean, that is the process, that is fine. So I encourage them that, look, the mission is also there to transmit concerns that they may have. So I encourage those who believe that something must be done in our country to be open about it and to come up, say, and offer suggestions. However, building a country is a process, an unending process. So fix the country cannot be an event. No, because every day something is going awry which desires to be fixed. But I believe that as Ghanaians, we should up again as government, as public officers, as citizens. Of course, those of you here know how taxes are important. I mean, in this country, I'm told that apart from getting up daily, the sun rising and the sun setting, another certainty of life is the payment of taxes. And at every turn, you pay taxes. And you ensure that taxes are applied for the purpose for which they are being collected. And we adhere to rules and regulations. And those who fall foul of it face the consequences. Unfortunately, in our country, I dare say that complying with rules and regulations is more of an exception rather than the rule. That leaves a lot to be desired. I have been in government since 1997, or I've been in public office since 97. And I look back and I just sometimes wonder what contribution I have made if we still continue on that tangent. And this is where I also challenge diasporas, because while you are here, you know the best that is happening. You have to impact back home. It's a very major challenge. As for me, I say that diasporas don't have an excuse to give up. If the missionaries gave up, Mr. Kwesi, you won't be in a nice suit presiding over this event in London. Yes. So I don't know. And please, let us not expect to be treated differently from the ordinary Ghanaians. Once you are a diaspora, you've set up yourself as an embodiment of sacrifice and commitment to your mother country. And that's all that I would say. Fix the country movement. And the last one is which area? I've even forgot.
We've got security and culture of violence.
Yes, I was desirous of getting statistics from the Ministry of Interior on crime in Ghana. But I dare say that statistics may not tell the story, particularly where an individual has been subjected to armed robbery. The fact is that now, with the social media countries have become more and more open. Things that used to happen and publicity were not being given them now have been given. So it's a challenge to us as government. But I believe that it also has to do with the posture of security agencies and their leadership and how they are seen to be tackling security issues. So the new IGP has given a sense of purpose, a sense of hope to Ghanaians, the way he's approaching security issues. So whilst security is a major matter of concern, I believe government is tackling it. Government is also recruiting more and more policemen so that ultimately we may have at least one policeman to every 500 people, which is the United Nations number. I mean, it's something, but I think that it's something that we've been grappling with. Mr. Kwesi, I've also happened to have had the honor of being responsible for security in Ghana's Ministry of Interior in 2006. The fact is that I believe that a decentralized police, as is in the UK, may be more effective in our country. But our country is the policing is so much centralized. Every day you hear of the IGP. We don't have any IGP in the UK. You have Metropolitan Commissioner and whatever. And it's something that I believe various governments have been looking at. Oversight of the police, an external body having oversight of police, just like in the UK. In Ghana, we don't have anything like it's also something that is being explored. So generally, I wish to assure our compatriots here that, yes, security is not as bad as it may appear. I dare say when it comes to statistics, in terms of crime, it may be more in the UK, except that the government and the security agencies must be seen to be on top, to be reacting. I mean, when there's a crime, steps are taken to apprehend the criminals and to assure people that when they are subject to crime, their security is well protected. That is all I can say for now, and I thank you, Mr. Kwesi.
Thank you so much, His Excellency. Thank you. We will take a few minutes break so you can, try and clear your throat for a second, and then we'll return for Q&A. So can I ask all audience to use your Zoom icon and raise your hand if you have any questions. This program is brought to you by partnership of Ghana Union, the Nurses Association, Ghana Nurses Association, the Western Region Nurses Association, and the Nightingale Ghanaian Nurses Association. Also supported by Ghana High Commission and Omega Live TV. It is sponsored by IT Consortium. Tonight we are with the High Commissioner to the UK and Ireland, His Excellency Owusu-Ankomah, and he's gone through a series of topic areas in the past hour. And I'm sure this is the time you need to look at the areas he's addressed, and where you have any questions, you will do so when we return in a few seconds. 1 minute. Thank you.
This is Owusu-Ankomah. This is Owusu-Ankomah. All right, I'll go.
Okay, welcome back. Welcome back. This is the Q&A session. We've got an hour to take our High Commissioner through any questions that you have, and we'll be calling you in order of first come, obviously, first serve. Hechi, while you're gone, you are muted. So when you're ready, if you can unmute yourself, please.
Yes.
Yes, thank you. Now, I have some questions sent to me in advance, as always, by email. I will go through those questions alongside those who have raised their hand. The first question somebody asked me is sent to me through WhatsApp as you speak was, why do government has to appoint the IGP? As you rightly said, UK IGPs or commissioners of police have nothing to do with the Prime Minister. It's appointed locally depending on the provinces where those services are, remain. We do realize that the IGP is appointed by the president. You have the head of police council, who is the vice president, and then you have a minister of security or interior, who also is a government appointee. So actually, where does the independence of an IGP stand when it comes to areas of security and judgment and being able to call a decision on what is right or wrong? Having said that, I think we all do acknowledge the enormous work that Dan Perry has brought, the decency that he's trying to instill into the discipline that is bringing into the system as we speak. But that being said, could it just be that previous ones did not have the capacity based on political influence to make the decisions that they would have ordinarily made in their role? As you would have seen the Commissioner of Police, Cressida Dick, taking a decision without going to ask Boris Johnson, why should I do this or that? What would you say to such a question?
Well, I thought you have a series of questions, but let me answer this. I mean, it's the provisions of our constitution. You see, the president is the appointing authority. It doesn't mean that he necessarily takes the decision. The IGP is appointed by the government. Normally, it's on the recommendation of the police council. And the police council is constituted by the president's nominee as chairman, who now is the vice president, and you have the Minister of Interior, you have other agencies. But the basic thing with our constitution is that all public offices are directly appointed by the president. The process of appointment may be different. It is, for instance, the Chief Justice. It is the president who nominates the Chief Justice with the approval of Parliament. But he appoints him. The same with the chairman and members of the Electoral Commission. That does not necessarily mean that the IGP's independence is compromised. And the observation, I mean, that is why I believe that we have tenure, all right? Unfortunately, in the case of the IGP, he does not have a fixed term. The term is determined by the appointing authority, the president. Probably going forward, we must have a fixed term for a president, for an IGP, for instance. And it's IGP who appoints the heads of the police in all the regions and even the district. The IGP is, but that is our constitution. Going forward, a lot of observations have been made about how we structure our services and how we can change them in terms of appointment, etc., to make them feel more independent. So as to why I'm saying that, it's our constitution.
Thank you. Thank you, sir. So I'll go to the audience. There are two hands up, and they will both two hands will ask their question, and then you can attend to that. Then I'll go to the chat room and read some chat room additions there before I come to anyone who has raised their hand. Daniel Amu, please, if you are there. Daniel.
Yeah, thank you very much. It is commendable to hear His Excellency condemn the recent unfortunate acts of our parliamentarians at this forum. My question is, how does the state intend to mitigate future occurrences of incidences that could disintegrate Ghana's image, reputation, brand, and identity, more so when elected members and state actors are involved?
Thank you, Daniel. Thank you. He has noted that for you, and he will address it. There's someone called Lord, let your will be done. Is that your name? If your name is Lord, let your will be done.
Yeah, my name is Nidodu.
All right. Please,
Okay.
thank you, Ni. If you can give us your question, please, or your
Okay. My question is to do with the corruption system going on in Ghana, and then misappropriate of funds, especially, I mean, when it comes to buying vehicles for MPs and ministers. We don't have such a thing over here. So where we need the money to be used to see the welfare of the nation, it should go into that way. But in Ghana, that's not the way it's going. So what has he got to say about this?
Thank you very much. Thank you, Ni. There's another one called Daniel. You got your hand up. Is it the same Daniel or somebody else?
It's somebody else. I'm Daniel S. Yeah. Thank you very much. Thank you very much for the opportunity. My question is, and good evening to the Excellency. I wanted to just ask, I'm a big fan of your current administration's support and engagement of the diaspora, the African diaspora in particular, with policies like the year of return and the decade of return that is ongoing. I am trying to get into the tourism sector in Ghana myself as a Ghanaian. And I have been very pleased and warm-hearted and excitable about the recent sort of branding and basically the selling point of the whole year of return and the whole engagement that the government seems to have with calling people back home. But in tourism, and I'm talking for those that I'm also dealing with, the question still comes from many tourists, from international tourists, friends and colleagues. What exactly is the overriding aim for this policy? Is it to get investment, or is it really to call people back home, i.e. African Americans, African Europeans? What exactly is government's policy? Thank you.
Okay. Thank you so much. So we've got three questions, Your Excellency. One that was asking about what can government do, or indeed the state can do about the state scenes we have in Parliament in recent times. And the second one is about, well, he seemed to suggest corruption, but I don't have any back information to back that. But I think the whole point is, why do we buy vehicles for MPs and furnish them with so much when on the other side of politics in other parts of the developed world, they do so from their own salaries? And also the last one is, what is the policy regarding return home, Ghanaians being called to go home from Yes.
Thank you very much. Thank you very much. What does the state intend to do? You know, MPs have certain immunities when it comes to their duty. And generally speaking, government or the executive arm of the state has nothing to do with the goings on in the parliamentary chamber unless invited by Parliament itself. The question has been raised. Immunities may relate only to the work that they are doing. It does not relate to fisticuffs or snatching the speaker's chair. But Parliament has the authority on its own proceedings and its procedure. We say that it is in charge of its own affairs. So what we can do is to exert pressure. Civil society, citizens exerting pressure. And of course, naming and shaming particular people involved, individuals. We need to name and shame individuals. If you identify them, name and shame them. And bring pressure to bear on Parliament itself to discipline its errant members. But the state, as Queen police the police has no right to enter the chamber of Parliament or even its precincts unless it has been invited by Parliament or there's imminent danger to life and properties, exceptional circumstances. But now I know that some civil society organizations, including the Christian Council of Ghana, have been calling on Parliament to discipline its errant members. And MPs themselves always realize this and come with excuses. But until such a time when in terms of our level of accountability, we go to the extent where people may even voluntarily decide to resign because they behaved contrary to normal expectations of society, we can only go about appeal. But I believe that we are going to overcome this. I have personally conveyed a message to some senior members of Parliament expressing my concern about this, because I have been receiving comments from persons in authority all over the world that if this is the way your Parliament is behaving, how can there be law and order in the general society? How can our investments even be protected? But we are working on it. And as to buying cars and so forth, yes, every country and its history. I've been a member of Parliament. In 1997, when I entered Parliament, well, I had my own accommodation in Accra, even though I live in Sekendi. I had my own means of transport. But majority of members of Parliament did not have accommodation. Some did not even have their own means of transport. They have been elected into Parliament. To enable them efficiently discharge their duties, they need means of transport. So for MPs, they are given loans by the state and they pay through their salaries, except that the state absorbs part of the interest. Now, they are given allowances for accommodation, housing, just like here. They don't have reimbursable expenses. You are given a lump sum and you use it to discharge your duty as you deem fit, and you are given constituency allowance to run your constituent office, etc., etc. But this question of loans, we don't purchase vehicles for MPs. There are some MPs who do not take the loans. However, most MPs take the benefit of the loans vehicles. But I know in my time MPs who said they had their own vehicles, they didn't need a loan. So that is it. But for ministers, they are provided with a saloon car. I don't think in this country, cabinet ministers use their own vehicles. No, except that you use it only for official purpose. It's the same for Ghana. And there was a policy that four-wheel drives, cross-country vehicles, ministers don't have cross-country vehicles assigned to them. There's a pool if you need it. Over the years, we've not been able to do that. But I agree with you. I mean, for a country like Ghana with limited resources, if it's possible, fine. But don't forget that there are also some individual ministers. For instance, the president, for example, when we were in government, he didn't use any official vehicle. He didn't even take official accommodation. But that is it. And you spoke about corruption. You never mentioned that specific corruption you're talking about. However, I know that the Auditor General, for instance, always brings reports. It's not always monies that have been appropriated, but monies that have been expended without recourse to the processes. For instance, I mean, in the UK, if I, as a high commissioner, I spend some monies related to certain things without recourse to authorization from capital, I've expended the money for the purposes of the work, but because it's not been in accordance with the processes, I'm supposed to have wrongly expended the money. So when we talk about misappropriation, generally, it may not involve using state resources for your own purposes, but using financial resources without recourse to the whole process. For instance, in the UK, if the commission has properties, if a property is vacant and you want to get a tenant and you appoint an estate agent, you cannot pay that estate agent without authorization from Accra. That is it. If you pay without that authorization, you have expended money without going through the due process. And you are supposed to refund that money according to our laws. So a lot, that is why we talk about accountability and processes. So that's what I have to say for it. And tourism, what's the purpose? Well, generally, I think it's both. I mean, why would we sponsor a football team like the Black Stars, millions of dollars? What do we gain? It's branding the country. And when you brand a country, it also attracts people into the country. When they come into the country, they expend money. We are talking about return. Well, when they return to the country, they spend money. They have good image of the country, and they go about, they leave the country, and they talk so well about the country. And it's also attractive, it will attract investment, etc. Some of these things it is not directly tangible. The investment, or let's say even the remittances by Ghanaians in the diaspora, is higher than somehow their financial assistance we get. That doesn't mean that we should refuse the financial assistance. So it is both ways. We want to make Ghana, so to speak, the maker of the Black Reef, so that any African in the diaspora who thinks he has no home anywhere should feel at home in Ghana. And when you feel at home, you put your money where your heart is. So that's the general idea. That's the rationale behind it. It's to brand Ghana as the home of Africans in the diaspora. Thank you, Chairman Payson.
Excellency, thank you. I will now go to the chat room, and I will go through a few chat room. Some are comments, some are questions. The ones that are questions, I'm sure you will attend to it, please. First one says, indeed, a fix a country. Indeed, a fix is only a temporary solution. We need long-term development programs to deal with chronic issues in our country. I believe it's just to, share the sentiment of others who are on the other side of the country movement. And the other one says, governments are elected to correct nation's problems. The president in a lecture at Christ the King about 1994 said, Ghana's economic base has not changed since Gettysburg in 1928. 5 years into presidency, nothing much has changed. Instead, all we are doing is piling on taxes, 17 at the last count. Right, okay, I believe that one. I'm sure if you look back 5 years, some things have changed. We cannot have everything change, but I'm sure His Excellency will deal with that. Someone saying that he doesn't believe anything has changed. The other person is also saying, His Excellency, thank you for the time and information. You told us about the process to make the LGBTQ issue law. Please, what is your personal stance on this legislation? So we want to know, if you were not the High Commissioner and you were a Ghanaian citizen with all the cultural norms, with all the things that we are accustomed to, coupled with international laws, coupled with everything else, what will be your view of this legislation going ahead or being dropped? Please, the last one says, please, what are plans in place for Ghanaians in the UK to have the Ghana card? Yes, I do share the view. There's been questions that has been asked over and over to some of us. So please, if you have any information to share, that will be very great, helpful. And then I'll go to the last one. The new education system, please, could you clarify? Is it now similar to the one in the UK system? Somebody wants to know whether our education system as in, what's it called? The system we have here is comparable or similar to what we have in the UK. So these are the areas, if you have any comments or you want to address any of them, please.
Yes, thank you. We have, as for long-term development, every government comes and you must have a development plan which covers a period of 5 years, approved by Parliament. In Ghana, my experience is we have plans. When it comes to implementation, it becomes a challenge due to lack of financial resources. For instance, the Bui Dam, for instance, was envisaged by, I think, President Nkrumah. It took President Kufuor to implement it. There are so many things. We need a long-term development. We have a National Development Plan Commission. So the plans are there. It is the execution that remains a challenge. And that's something that is a challenge for governments almost everywhere. I believe in the UK, we have this, is it cross rail or the rail that is to come from the north Every year is supposed to be done in 5 years. The budget has escalated, etc. So I agree with you in principle. It's a challenge. Yes, governments are brought in to fix problems. And the Gaggisberg economy is still a Gaggisberg economy. But as we said, we've made some progress a bit. Now we are going to have a gold refinery in Ghana. We do not have it. The president will be talking about adding value to our products. So to try and add value to our products, to strengthen how much we get from our cocoa, that is why Ghana and Cote d'Ivoire have agreed on a common pricing formula for cocoa to earn more from cocoa. Cocoa processing factories are being set up in the Sefi area, which is the largest cocoa producing area in Ghana. So we are making progress, not as much as we wish to, but that is the way for nation building. LGBT, unfortunately, because I'm the High Commissioner, I don't offer personal positions because I may be misunderstood. Suffice it to say that the bill was not introduced by the government. It's not a policy of the government of President Nana Akufo-Addo. And I'm also confident that before the bill is enacted to be into law and is enforced in Ghana, it will take a while. It's quite a lengthy road to travel. And I even encourage those of you here, if you have any views, you can submit memoranda to Parliament on it. And I'm sure members of Parliament will consider it. The Ghana card, there are plans, just like passports are issued outside Ghana, to let Ghanaians in the diaspora have the Ghana card. However, it is when it is completely covered the entire Ghana that they will come to the diaspora. And I believe UK may be the first place that they will come because we have the infrastructure to get for it. Our educational system is peculiar to Ghana. It's neither like the UK system or the UK system or the European system. But in Ghana, we have some schools running Cambridge, etc., etc. It is not the same. However, what I can say is that the idea is to have primary school 6 years and then high school 6 years with JHS being part of SSS, so 3 years, 6 years. That is the general idea. And after the first 4 years, then you may have electives, deciding to do either science, arts, technical, visual arts, etc., etc. That generally is our educational system. But the system, just as that of the United Kingdom, is always undergoing review. Some time ago, we had polytechnics in the UK. They became universities. Now, polytechnics in Ghana are technical universities. They are universities, but they are described as technical universities, universities with more emphasis on practical acquisition of skills in various areas. Thank you, Chair. Please, next one.
The next 3 rounds will be, Zoom questions on those who have put their hands up. Dominic Obin, please, Dominic.
Your Excellency, yeah, thanks for, I think you mentioned briefly about branding. And I think with us being here in the diaspora, branding is very important when we talk about different nationalities. Now, there are some whispers in the air, or you hear allegations about other nationalities using dubious means to acquire Ghanaian passports. I'm wondering whether you are aware about these allegations and the due diligence that your office has been undertaking to kind of minimize or reduce the incidents of these happening. And also, secondly, we talk about import duties. I think it's one of the issues that affects most of us in the diaspora. Even when you have something you want to send back home, the import duty can be quite astronomical. I'm wondering whether there are any arrangements or discussions with government to kind of address some of these concerns. Thank you.
Yeah, okay.
Sorry, much, Dominic. Can we have Amy, please? Amy.
Thank you very much, Your Excellency, for this talk. I want to find out, for the sake of the peace of mind of those of us who return to Ghana often, you mentioned you made a comparison between the yellow fever vaccine and the current situation about force vaccinating Ghanaians returning and also making sure they take a second jab before coming. And I'm wondering the rationale behind this. Having been to Ghana about 5 times since the breakout of the COVID and seeing how the ordinary Ghanaian goes about, most of them unprotected or not thinking about other people at all. And also I'm aware that we've so far, probably less than 5% of Ghanaians have been vaccinated. So that's number one, I want to know the rationale behind the forced vaccination. Is it constitutional? Is it in law? And the fact that I've had many occasions, people comparing the yellow fever vaccination to COVID vaccination.
Thank you, Amy. Thank you. The next one will be Joseph Kwanzaa, please. Joseph. Mr. Kwanzaa, if you are still with us. Right, okay. We may have to move on to someone else just to try and use the time that we have.
Can you hear me?
Yes, we can hear you now.
Okay, thank you, Mr. Christie. Right. Yeah, I was impressed when the Excellency talk about social services. I'm the president of Ghanaian Social Workers Association. Yeah, I think yeah. So we have so many programs coming up to come and help in relation to making aware about what we are doing and what we can do to support the community. Okay. Because a lot of children are coming into care, and it doesn't speak well of our nation. Thank you. So that's that. I will come and see you later, Your Excellency. But my question is, I have a team of people who would like to invest in Ghana, and we are trying to acquire some lands in Accra. The paperwork is just unbelievable. It's taken over 2 years now to see really what is happening. And what we've been informed is that with the Vice President's level of technology, which is excellent, they are now going to put all the lines in Accra through the digital means. Yeah. So is there a way you could just let us know how it works and why it takes so long before you can register a piece of land?
Thank you so much, Mr. Kwanzaa. Your Excellency, please, if you want to attend to those, pray.
Yes, Thank you. Passports. There are certain things that I don't intend stating on this open forum. However, to get a Ghanaian passport, you need a valid birth certificate. All right? And you must show that either of your parents or any of your grandparents is a Ghanaian, then you're a Ghanaian by birth. I can tell you that if we're going strictly according to these requirements, only a few Ghanaians can acquire passports. In our effort to help our compatriots acquire passports, there are some people who may slip through the cracks. I've had a complaint from a Ghanaian who says that when some people with Muslim-sounding names are acquiring Ghanaian passports, too many questions are asked of them, as if they are non-Ghanaians. These are all part of the processes. But we engage in due diligence and we exercise sound judgment, sometimes using our discretion. But I must tell you that it is not easy. My only appeal is that please, let's be honest and sincere when we apply for Ghanaian passports, particularly for those who already have UK passports. I have personally been encouraging Ghanaian nationals who have British citizenship and passports to acquire Ghanaian passports so that if they are going to Ghana, they don't need to get a visa to get to their own country. But let's try and be frank and fair to ourselves. We take note of that. We've received complaints of certain people not being Ghanaians, having Ghanaian passports, where we've known the identities, we've invited them, and in a few cases, for lack of cooperation, the passports have been cancelled. We rarely do that, but we undertake due diligence. Import duties, particularly in charity, I've had so many complaints, and I've got the trade and investment officer to get me a comprehensive criteria from Ghana on that. But from what I know, when I was trade minister, I had to deal with some of these things. In order to get an exemption, people want to send goods to Ghana and distribute free. What we have realized is that sometimes people use it as a cover and sell the goods which they claim, or some of the goods which they claim they are giving to charity. So I know that if you want to give goods for charity, consign it to that institution. You want to give it to a hospital, consign it to that hospital, or the Ministry of Health. You want to give it to an educational institution, consign it to that educational institution or the Ministry of Education, so that they would then take steps to clear the things from the port. But people also want to do it personally. If you want to do it personally, unfortunately, to get the exemption, it will be tough. The process will be long. And your things may even, exceed the number of days they have to be at the port because of the paperwork you have to go through. So we are trying our best to lessen the burden. But what I can say is that the easiest thing is, if you want to consign goods for charity to educational institutions, to charity organizations, to health institutions, consign them to the health institutions, the education institutions, the charities, so that they then take the steps to obtain the exemption. If you consign it to just any institution and then say that, well, it's for charitable purpose, so I don't want to pay import duty. No, you will now be covered. Vaccination. I can tell you that probably at the time when you needed a yellow fever vaccination before you come to UK, about 95% of Ghanaians did not even have vaccination for yellow fever. But if they were coming to the UK, they needed to have that vaccination. If you don't have the vaccination, you can't come. If you come, before you enter, you must be vaccinated. That is the process. Yes, I agree with you. You go to Ghana, it's as if COVID does not exist. You go to the marketplace, many of them will have their mask under their nose, etc. However, if you are leaving Ghana to the UK, you must have vaccination. If you are entering Ghana from the UK, you must be vaccinated. If you don't want to be vaccinated, then don't enter. If you think it's against your rights, the courts are there. I say this not to discount your concern about it, but the fact is that if, for whatever reason, we are unable to vaccinate majority of our citizens because of vaccine nationalism, as we call it, for those of you who are coming into the country, please get vaccinated. And last, well, Mr. Joseph Kwanzaa, thank you very much. I hope to see you, but I'm sure one of my officers to follow up on this. As regards lands, yes, it's a major headache. I know we want to digital lands in Ghana, spearheaded by the Vice President. It's something that has been going on under various schemes for the past 15 to 20 years in Ghana. But the idea of this digitization is then everything is digitized, so you have a piece of land, you have the site plan. Once you feed it into a thing, then you have knowledge of the area, who owns it, who is registered, etc. In Ghana, if you acquire land, the land must be registered. But most of us have lands that we've never registered. We've got properties on it, some for over 50 years unregistered. So it's something that we are trying to do. And then in Accra, apart from lands that are state lands, you have lands belonging to families and schools. Some have gone to court. You have conflicting judgments. It's rather a headache. It's rather a headache. So going through the paperwork is also so important. Now, if you don't have, your land is not registered, you are not supposed to get a building plan approved. That's why you have so many illegal structures in various parts of the country, because the people, they don't have, their title has not been completed. It takes time, but hence this process of digitization. So, Mr. Kwanzaa, just press and follow up on it. But it's just that you don't want to have a document saying that you own land when the processes are not complete. It may not help you in the long run. Thank you.
Thank you, Hechi. I've got some questions that's been sent to me here, and when I finish, I'll go back to the chat room Someone wants to know if you can clarify the position of the Bank of Ghana on the issue of £20 and £50 notes being withdrawn, because there seems to be confusion, whereas UK government is saying I will withdraw it from the system in certain date. Ghana government is actually withdrawing it probably much earlier than what is being requested by Bank of England. So if you have any insights, that would be helpful. The same person also wants to know what is the FDA, Food and Drugs Authority, doing about people using bisodium sulfite in preparing food such as kenke, banku, and effectively killing people innocently and slowly. There's been some reporting, whether confirmed or not, that has been circulating that people use some of those rather deadly things in preparing food to make it nice and presentable, but then your kidneys and your bladders and everything is being killed slowly. There's a chat room question which is quite important to me. All of them are important, but this one comes to some of us very often. If you allow me, I'll add that to it so that you can react to it, please. If I go to the chat room now, there's something about passports, which I didn't want to talk about passport, but as is here, we will talk about it. Let me just find it, please. Can you please let me know, are there any plans? Yes, are there any plans to modernize passports application process, i.e. the forms do not even print out properly? We should be able to have a scan or barcode where you can upload your pictures or upload your documentation without necessarily wherever, and be able to give reference online, like the UK passport. Somebody needs you, they put you as a referee, you can enter your passport and it automatically verifies the referee here. So it's a question that people have been asking. I thought I should add that to it before it's just my line of thought here. Right. Thank you, sir.
Thank you very much. Well, as for upgrading of systems, we are always upgrading. Technological advance is almost always ahead of us when it comes to these things. So we've taken note. I don't know when we can do it, but I know that we continuously want to modernize it. It is only, I think, sometime this year that we had this system of passport application online. In Ghana, it used to be manual. You have physically fill and then follow it up. It's now digitized. So uploading and so forth, I'm sure we will work on it. We are even looking at embedding visas. Visa, it's a chip or something instead of the paper. It's a process that we are working on. I'm not so clear about the Bank of Ghana's position. In Ghana, UK pound is not a legal tender. You have to take it to Bank of Ghana. So whatever Bank of Ghana says is what goes. If you want to deposit pounds in Ghana, you have to go to the bank, which will take the Bank of Ghana. So if Bank of Ghana is not going to accept a certain currency because it's being changed, it's because of administration system, but it's not a legal tender in Ghana. So, but I don't know this position. I will have to inquire. And FDA is to regulate production of food and other things approved before they are sold. I'm sure if people are using certain chemicals in the production of food, which chemicals are inimical to the health of Ghanaians, the FDA will work on it. I will also alert the FDA as to this claim. And if we have details, it may help, because when people produce kenkey, they produce it from their homes, etc., etc. FDA may periodically, randomly go and inspect and assess that it's being produced hygienically in accordance with healthy practices. But unless we specifically know, unlike certain products that have to be sold in shops, so you need approval, it will be difficult for the FDA to police it if you don't have specific pointers as to the areas where this kenkey is produced. Okay, thank you.
Thank you so much. May I say, before that last one, maybe before we come to the last set of questions, this program is brought to you by Ghana Union, the Western Region Nurses Association, the Ghana Nurses Association, and the Nightingale Ghanaian Association, in partnership with Ghana High Commission and presented also through Omega Live TV. We have had a series of engagement with Her Excellency, the High Commissioner tonight. We have few minutes to round up so that we can give his final words for the year. And so I'll call on Hazel, please. Hazel, if you are still with us.
Hi everyone. I just had a question. What does it really mean to be Ghanaian to the sorry, I forgot the gentleman who is speaking, but yeah, what does it actually mean to be Ghanaian? That's all I had to ask.
Right. You want the High Commissioner to tell you what it means to be a Ghanaian? To do with becoming a Ghanaian, acquiring, you can clear it, please, because are you still with us? I'm afraid I would allow you to attend to this particular one because it's peculiar.
It's a philosophical, sociological, and legal question. But what does it mean to be a Ghanaian? It's a matter of identity. I know there are many young Ghanaians in the United Kingdom who don't feel Ghanaian. I've asked someone, I hear the name, Kwesi. You must be Ghanaian. Oh, you know what? Well, my parents are Ghanaian, but I'm British. For such a person, it doesn't mean anything. He doesn't see himself as a Ghanaian. There are some Ghanaians who are black outside, by white inside. Their thinking is totally un-Ghanaian, it's totally British. That's what I can say. But I'm saying that, you see, in this country, there is so much diversity. The UK has a rich culture, has rich values, but every country has also its rich culture and its rich values. So particularly for those whose country of origin is not of the UK, I believe that when you get attached to the good values of your country of origin, it complements the values that you carry. I wouldn't say it, but how come that those from Southeast Asia, we have many of them who are British here, but you realize that they are also Indian, they are also Pakistani, they are also Bangladeshi. So for me, it enriches you as a human being to be Ghanaian and at the same time British or belong to another nationality. I've attempted it. Depending on the aspects of the answer you wanted, you may be satisfied or may not be satisfied, but at least I've attempted to answer you. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Your Excellency. I do have to say that on behalf of the Ghanaian community, we want to extend our gratitude to the mission, especially the Highgate team, those who work on the passport visas. I do also want to ask our people to be very honest with the information they give them when you go for interviews, the things you say, because 90% of the time, by the time you go down the route of their inquiry, actually, they are the one that is the cause of the delays or whatever. System has improved. I am not saying it because I know them, but I know that those of us who used to apply for passports some 20 years ago is not the same. Things have changed, and we can only work on it. So thank you to the team over there and to the whole High Commission team for their work. His Excellency, at this point, this is all time will allow us to engage you. We want to make it exactly on time so that next time when we call you, you will you will know we'll keep to our time. But this is a time for you to obviously share with us your thoughts for this year, and obviously what you expect the next year to be as a community here, and those who have interest in Ghana and do so very often. What to look for in the coming 2022.
Right. Thank you very much, Mr. Emmanuel Kwesi, Chairman of the Ghana Union UK, compatriots of the UK. All too soon, we've come to the end of the year 2021. Of course, this year has been full of challenges because of the pandemic. We've not had the opportunity to socialize as we used to. We have lost members of our family. We have lost friends, but we thank God that we are alive. As we end this year and look forward to a new year, let us remember that we are each other's keeper. We have left our country of origin to come and live here. Let us continue to comply to the laws of this country. But let us also remember that as Ghanaians, we need to understand each other. We need to interact with each other. We need to help each other. We need to see ourselves as a community. Let those of us who are in a position to help those in distress and the vulnerable, help them. But let us not forget the country from which we received our infant nature. Ghana looks up to those of us in the diaspora to move ahead because they see us as having been globally exposed. Life is not worth living if we have not positively affected others. It is true, there's a lot that has to be done in our country. There's a lot that leadership has to do. Leadership, political, religious, customary. There's a lot more that we have to. There's a lot more that we have to do with citizens, as citizens. But please let us remember that building a country is a process. Let us be patient and tolerant of each other. I am optimistic that tomorrow will be better than today. Certainly today was better than yesterday. So next year will be better than this year. As we enjoy the Christmas festivities and holidays with our family and friends, let us also remember those who, for some reasons, are not able to enjoy the Christmas. And let us support them in any way that we can. So I wish all of you a very Merry Christmas. And I trust that we will have a fruitful and beneficial 2022. Merry Christmas. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Your Excellency. Thank you so much. And we wish you the same, you and your family and everyone around you. We want to thank all the audience who have been joining us throughout this year. We are almost a year since this forum started. We want to thank you. I want to make special mention of Dr. Dai from United States, who has been joining all the time. I also want to recognize Dr. Lincoln Aite from Manchester, who is with us today and other times. Dr. Furikwa also has been joining. And then, of course, Ghana Union Harlow, a special mention to you. We thank you all for your unity of purpose and helping us to reach out to all of you. H.E., thank you. We wish you well, and we look forward to see you 2022. To all the audience, have a good night and Merry Christmas again. Thank you very much on behalf of the Ghanaian community and Ghanaian Community Awareness Forum. Good night. A very good night to you all.